What's up, Otakuact family? We open with President Go's funeral. The rain poured with no intention of letting up as mourners gathered beneath black umbrellas for President Go's funeral. The sky mourned with them, a heavy downpour that dulled the color from the world. And Jin-Woo, man, seeing our shadow monarch like this. Jin-Woo stood still, gaze fixed downward, unmoving. You can feel the weight of everything on his shoulders. His eyes eventually drifted to the side, where Chief Wu Gentile stood, just a few steps away. The man looked hollowed out, every trace of sharp discipline in his appearance gone. His eyes were sunken with grief, and his shoulders sagged beneath an invisible weight. When Gentile questions Jin-Woo with a voice choked by loss, questioning why it had been impossible to save the chairman, even with all of Jin-Woo's power. Jin-Woo's response came low, heavy with regret. It had already been too late when he arrived. No further words came. But here's what got me emotional. Gentile lifted his head slightly, letting the rain strike his face as he stared into the grey heavens. Just yesterday, the chairman had asked him about his trip to the US, had told him to return quickly, and now, just like that, he was gone. A life snatched away before he could even say goodbye. The chief turned back and thanked Jin-Woo for being with the chairman in his final moments. But Jin-Woo didn't speak. He couldn't. There was only the cold simmering in his chest, an oath forged in silence. He would find the one responsible, no matter the cost. And then, as the rain intensified, Jin-Woo made his decision. He turned toward Gingchel, voice clear beneath the sound of falling water, and instructed him to gather the reporters. It happened fast. The press conference was organized within the hour, and the room quickly swelled with eager voices and flashing cameras. When Jin-Woo entered, the chatter died instantly. His presence alone silenced the room, every lens locked onto him. He spoke plainly, but his words hit with force. There existed now a colony of monsters, intelligent, cunning, and far stronger than anything humanity had seen. These beings didn't attack openly. They isolated their targets, deploying magic that severed space, preventing escape and reinforcement. A reporter, unable to hold back, asked if the creature that had killed President Go was among them. Jin-Woo's eyes didn't flinch. He confirmed it. The one responsible was part of that same colony. He continued, issuing a warning to every hunter around the world. Anyone who felt they might be targeted needed to stay close to their comrades. To fight alone was to invite death. But behind his words, Jin-Woo's thoughts wandered back to the creature's final words, the name it had given itself. The Monarch of Frost. And if that was true, then there were others. The Monarch of the Beginning, and even Wu himself, the Monarch of the Shadows. These were beings whose strength eclipsed even the greatest hunters alive. No one else could face them. As the silence in the room deepened, Jin-Woo closed with one final statement. For those without comrades, for those who felt alone and vulnerable, they should reach out to him through the Korean Hunters Association. He would protect them. The Battle of Monarchs had begun and the world would never be the same. But guys, if you thought that was intense, wait until you hear what happens next. We cut to this absolutely chilling scene. In a cold, dimly lit cave deep beneath the earth, the air was thick with unease as 5 monarchs gathered in silence. Their presence warped the space around them, a suffocating pressure building as Selid, the Frost Monarch, finally broke it. The others turned toward him as he spoke with chilling certainty. The Shadow Monarch was alive, and he was walking the surface of Earth. Yogamund, the Transfiguration Monarch, narrowed his eyes, his voice laced with doubt as he muttered that it was impossible. No vessel could contain the true power of the Shadow Monarch. Even the Dragon King couldn't maintain his form on Earth. So how could this be? But Selid's expression didn't waver. He said he'd seen it himself. The Shadow Monarch was alive, real, and more dangerous than the fragment of brilliant light they had once feared. The atmosphere thickened. None of them wanted to believe it, yet none could challenge the certainty in Selid's words. Selid continued, proposing what none had dared to voice. They should attack the Shadow Monarch now while he was still in human form. It was their only chance. He asked for their support, his voice hardening with resolve. Tarnak, the Monarch of the Iron Body, scoffed and dismissed the idea outright, reminding Selid that picking a fight with one of the strongest among the 9 monarchs wasn't bravery, it was suicide. He urged patience, insisting they wait for the return of the Dragon King, the Monarch of Destruction. Silid's eyes flashed as pain flared through his wounded shoulder, his fist tightening. Waiting wasn't an option. They were monarchs, not servants, hiding behind another's strength. If they didn't act now, they never would. The human vessel was a flaw, one that could be exploited. But Tarnak didn't flinch. He reminded them what had happened to the Monarch of White Flames. The Shadow Monarch had bound him with a single command, turning his eternal form into a silent slave. Tarnak refused to suffer the same fate. Yogamut agreed, his tone cool and distant. He didn't want to gamble his existence just to fall like the others. The risk wasn't worth it. Riken, the Monarch of Beasts, growled in frustration, branding them cowards. He refused to believe that even the Shadow Monarch's authority could bend true monarchs in their original forms into his servants. Tarnak turned to Riken, his voice sharp, reminding him that the Shadow Monarch and the Administrator were now working together. That alone made them more dangerous. They didn't need to enslave the monarchs directly, not when they could be replicated, recreated, and used like tools. With no more words, Tarnak opened a dark portal and vanished into the void. Yogamut followed, leaving only 3 behind. Riken narrowed his eyes and faced Selid directly, demanding proof that the Shadow Monarch still retained some trace of humanity. Selid pulled out a dagger, its blade faintly pulsing with a sickly hue. He said it had pierced him during the battle, and it was coated with poison. Ashbourne, the true Shadow Monarch, would never have needed such a thing. Quesha, the Monarch of Plagues, tilted her head, her voice low with disdain, as she admitted poison was beneath the Shadow Monarch. If he had truly been in control, he would have crushed Selid with raw power, not resorted to human cowardice. Selid's gaze moved between them. The vessel still had limits, weaknesses. That was their opening. He asked again, would they stand with him? This time Riken's grin stretched wide, his eyes gleaming with bloodlust. Quesha responded with a slow nod, her wicked smile matching the growing tension. The human vessel piqued their interest, and with that, the 3 monarchs boldly decided to challenge and kill the Shadow Monarch. Meanwhile, above the surface, a somber atmosphere enveloped the city as rain poured relentlessly. Atop a towering skyscraper, Jin-Woo stood unmoving, the downpour soaking him. Yet his expression remained still as stone. His eyes scanned the city below, sharp and unyielding, trying to trace even the faintest ripple of the Frost Monarch's magic. But it was gone. He recalled the moment Selid declared himself in his original form, a truth that aligned with what the Monarch of Giants had told him. Monarchs and rulers in their true states could not be transformed into shadows. That meant his usual means of tracking, his shadows, were useless now. But as the wind howled around him, Jin-Woo's eyes remained firm, glinting with resolve. He didn't need shadows to hunt. As long as he was a hunter, he would not miss his prey. What did you think of this episode? Are you ready for the Battle of Monarchs? Let me know in the comments below, smash that like button if you're as hyped as I am, and don't forget to subscribe for more solo leveling breakdowns. Until next time, keep leveling up.